yeah, Resident Evil, the game that shaped or shattered the childhoods of tons of people. With iconic characters and lines such as...
7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
7 minutes is all I need there. Damn, we're rolling again! Having 16 main releases and another 15 non-major games, the franchise managed to sell over 135 million copies as of December 2022. With such numbers, copycats are bound to appear, and today we are tackling 2 of these. Ladies and gentlemen, toupees and wigs, and the people with hair, in the blue corner. Released in 2022 with a mostly positive Steam rating and a whopping 24 gigs of space, The Underdog, sent from Russia, made by the chef turned into solo game developer, the Devourer of Hope, Ebola free. And in the red corner, released in 2024 with overwhelmingly positive reviews and a mere 1.5 gigs of space, the English special brought to us by Brotherly Mischief, the Nostalgia Bearer, Crow Country! Okay boys, no punching or kicking, I wanna see only bites and scratches. Bonus points for dismemberment. Ready? Fight! Hey, not me! Ow! Son of a... Hey! Let's start with Ebola. Describing Ebola free in short terms is easy. Zombies, guns, and an unfathomable amount of frustration. Playing this game was a challenge, so let me show you exactly why. Ebola free is one of the multiple games made by the indie game studio, the Indie Game Studio. According to their website, the team was founded and consists, as of now, of Victor, a 32-year-old Russian gamer. So who is Victor? Because I am a noisy ass PNG, I went and reached out to Victor, and lo and behold, the man was nice enough to respond and answer my questions. After writing a few emails with Victor, I found out that Ebola Free is quite literally a passion project. Because Victor is a chef. He's not a full-time game developer. He makes tasty meals during the day and gut-wrenching games at night. So let's dive into this first-person survival horror game created, as the Steam description says, in the spirit of the great horror classics. Made with Unreal Engine 4, Ebola Free benefits from an extremely powerful engine, capable of rendering most complicated environments and complex textures. The game adopts a very realistic and gritty style, getting rid of any stylistic choices and concentrating on the cold and nasty reality the horror genre brings with it. I'm gonna be honest with you, it suffers from the Unreal Engine syndrome, as I like to call it. Games made with UE4 and destined to look hyper-realistic usually suffer from this overly rendered, way too many reflections and cold look. A type of look that doesn't necessarily transmit anything specific. It just kinda looks real in an uncanny way. I'm not saying that that's bad. A bunch of other games are made like this, especially indie games. I'm just saying that if you're looking for a bunch of flashy colors and crazy filters, Ebola Free will instead deliver you a more grounded and realistic approach to visuals. For what it is though, I think the gritty style works very well in this environment. It helps you concentrate on what's in front of you. And in this game, that can only be death and suffering. Sounds! Sometimes stuff will sound extremely close, without the source actually being that close, and other times it can be a bit loud. Or a bit too quiet. But generally speaking, sounds are good and well designed throughout the game. It only lacks during cutscenes and dialogue. But to be honest with you, the cutscenes in this game aren't good anyways, especially the voice acting. I don't like talking negatively about somebody's hard work, but the cutscenes could use a bunch of work. They're stiff, barely animated, and mostly a confusing mess. I mean, look at this.
What's happened?
My father is sick. He got bitten when he was trying to save you from monsters. You were unconscious.
Or this. Oh, nice scratch, dude.
as soon as possible.
Of course, you could argue that Victor is only following the masters and reproducing the amazingly mediocre voice acting we got in Resi 1.
It's broken.
I'm glad I could help.
Wesker?
You did a fine job, Barry.
I think I might be testing the copyright gods with all of these Resi clips. Oh well. Oh, by the way, and the cutscenes show you models that don't look at all like your actual character. I know, it's just me nitpicking at this point, but it's important if you wanna pick up the game. I wanna be transparent with my viewers. If you exclude the cutscenes though, the game has a great look and a horrifying atmosphere, so that's a great plus. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't finish this game, and I didn't play it enough to actually understand everything about the story. So what I'm about to say, please take with a grain of salt. The setup is pretty easy though. You wake up in a hospital after what seems to be a failed surgery. Corpses are scattered around the halls and inside the facility, and you gotta get out. The game has multiple and different locations, and what you do changes depending on where you are. I would love to tell you more about it, but this game has more than 25 hours of content, and I only played 3 or so. So that's a miss on my part, alright? If you want to find out the complete story, go and play the game. Something I would say though, Victor does a great job doing visual storytelling using his environment to show, not to tell. Putting corpses everywhere, and I mean everywhere. And adding environmental clauses like notes for puzzles. The game is really full of props and it doesn't feel empty at all, so that's a plus, a great plus in my opinion. The chaos around the environment and the amount of destruction really goes to show you that something bad happened here, and you gotta find out what. A side note here though, the game is full of jump scares and action triggered events. Some make sense. What the Why do I hear boss music? That's something I was about to say. And others don't really. Yeah, when I got jump scared by that clown, I got very angry. How is this supposed to help me? Because it didn't make sense to my peanut brain. So I went and I asked Victor about it. If you don't possess a half-developed monkey brain and actually use your eyes while playing, you'll find the children's world. And you'll realize fast that it should have been a children's birthday party. And the clown we found in the elevator earlier, the jump scare, was supposed to entertain the children. Again, great environmental storytelling by Victor, and a big L by myself for not paying attention. Gameplay. Alright, let's put our serious socks on now, because this is what we actually care about when playing any and all games. Half the time the looks or story of a game don't matter as long as the gameplay is entertaining. So is Ebola free entertaining? Look, I'm a simple gamer. Give me hordes and hordes of zombies and some guns and I'll be entertained for longer than I like to admit. Ebola free does a good job at keeping you occupied. Zombies can be dismembered by shots, which is not easy to implement smoothly by the way. Some have armor, so you have to be careful where you shoot. And the best part, if you don't burn them down or blow their heads off cleanly, they will come back to bite you in the butt. But to burn them, you have to use gasoline, which is a limited resource, so pick your kills carefully. In terms of zombies, the game has a nice variety and their irregular movement might give some challenge. It's good. But there's also other things to keep in mind. If the first thing you do when starting a game is to immediately customize your controls, then yeah, no, forget it. Controls are not customizable in Ebola free. Also, there's no crouching. Melee combat is not intuitive, so you might need a second to get used to it. The storage and the crafting systems, though, are literally taken from Resi, and I loved it. It felt very comforting to immediately know how it works, thanks to the similarity to Resident Evil. The saving system is very unique, though. And I loved it. This game has the same safe haven rooms you know and love from Resident Evil, and instead of a beautiful typewriter, a recorder is greeting us. Throughout the game you'll find these electromagnetic ribbons that you can use to save. And if you have none, then yeah, you're screwed. Some might find this a bad game design, but I do think making saving a finite resource is actually a great idea. You are in a zombie game after all. And there is no god here to save you. I just love it. Is it frustrating when you're bad at the game? Yeah, absolutely. But this is the type of game Ebola Free is. The game is not here to hold your hand, but to instead smash it brutally, and you just have to be okay with it if you want to play the game. Yes, the game feels clunky here and there. There are a few places where you will get stuck for the game to trigger specific events for you, and it will be confusing and frustrating. Some parts of the game will make you dizzy, like this part where I became a werewolf or some sort of mutant. Please take a look. The game seems focused on killing the zombies. I rarely felt like I didn't have enough ammo, even though I was spraying them here and there, left and right. The game gave me a bunch of loot, and I really liked it. Crafting and combining stuff was just like the Resident Evil games, and I loved it. It never felt like I was short on supplies, quite the opposite. I kept having to get rid of things because I just didn't have enough carrying space, so the game gives you enough. If you're a fan of action and exploration, the Ebola Free game will keep you occupied. It also has a bunch of puzzles, so that's a plus too. The online presence of this game seems to be somewhat there, but not quite. There is some traffic on the internet about it, videos, people playing it and trying it out for the first time, and most of the people are very positive about the game. To my surprise, most of the people seem to receive it well, despite its few shortcomings. I called the game the underdog earlier because of it not being well known on the internet. But it does have potential if you get over the bugs and clunkiness. Also, Victor promises to step up his game with the next project named Ebola Village. Let me know in the comments if I should make a review about that too. And while you're at it, a like will be greatly appreciated. This video took me almost 6 months to make, so yeah. Thanks for your support. Now we're gonna talk about the price. The game is around $20 on Steam, but you can get it on sale. I got it for the full price because I always miss sales for some reason. So is it worth the money? Well, that can be debatable. If you wanna challenge yourself and are ready to fight tooth and nail, not only with the difficulty of the game, but also a bunch of bugs, then sure, it's only $20 after all. And it's nice supporting a small game developer. But if you like games to hold your hand and you cannot deal with the challenge, then opt for something else. I'm serious when I say this, guys. This game doesn't give a damn about your sanity. It will mercilessly steal your sanity, bury it, and then dance on your grave. Tom and Adam of SFB Games started their game development journey humbly on new grounds. They've been at it since 2003, as their website suggests, even though SFB Games was officially created in 2012. They collaborated with industry giants such as Sony, Nintendo, and Valve, releasing a bunch of games. And today, the one we care most about is Crow Country. Made with Unity, the game benefits from polished and stylized visuals that remind of Silent Hill and old games from the 90s. With a low poly, low res style, I felt almost like playing the love child of Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time and Silent Hill, the original release. The third-person top-down view works perfectly with the style SFB Games created. The music in the game is simple but good. There are a bunch of distinct songs for different areas, my most favorite being the ones in the safe zones. This is where the game almost starts to feel cozy and relaxing, like there were never any zombies or monsters out there. The environment is well made, and interactables are well blended into it that you might miss them if you don't peel your eyes open. Again, just like Ebola Free, the game isn't empty at all. Everything is filled with remains of what went down, environmental storytelling at its peak. The developers did a great job with the visuals. The style is constant throughout the game, the enemies feel like they are part of the world, although still extremely unsettling. Crow Country sprinkles the story slowly for you to uncover through environmental storytelling, notes, puzzles, and so on. There's a bunch of notes in this game, almost on every wall I found something to read. The game is filled with clues for you to discover and use while playing, and I love it. In these reviews, I don't usually divulge the story, so I won't do that here either. In part because I didn't finish the game, and in part because you should discover it yourself. But I can tell you how everything starts. You are Mara Forrest, a special agent who arrives at Crow Country, an abandoned, closed-down theme park. You need answers, and if you wanna find them, you gotta dig them up yourself. You walk inside the park, and the moment you get in, you know something isn't right. And once you find these things moving around, trying to gobble you up, you know you can't leave this mystery unsolved. The atmosphere is great, and the story seems very interesting. And in contrast to Ebola Free, the game focuses a lot more on the story than on the action. So, if you're a nerd who loves a scare and a story to it, by all means, get the game. I really need to stop playing control games on a keyboard. Yeah, Crow Country is a game designed for controllers. It can be played with a keyboard though, but I strongly advise against it. If you saw my video about Cult of the Lamb and A Short Hike, which are both also games made for controllers, you will see that I made do with a keyboard. That is not the case for Crow Country. Playing with a keyboard was infuriating. I ran into walls, stepped into traps, got stuck, and so on because, well, playing with a keyboard sucks. I eventually somewhat got used to it, but if you don't have a controller, get one for this game. As a side effect of the controls, aiming in this game is weird on a keyboard, and I was lucky to sometimes hit the target. The zombies can be dismembered, which is cool. I don't know if this was a bug though, or supposed to happen, but I did pop the head of a zombie and it still continued to attack me. So watch out for that maybe. Talking about bugs, the game doesn't seem to have many of those, although the zombie AI is a bit weird at times. The enemies can be cheesed a lot or led into objects, which makes them stuck. You yourself can also get stuck sometimes, but not in game breaking. In this game, saving is done by staring beautifully into one of those fireplaces from the save rooms, and as I mentioned earlier, the music in the save rooms is just wow. I didn't want to leave the safe haven because of how good and calming the music was. Really a huge plus, and kudos to Okaroid for making it. Man, you nailed it. Another thing that was nailed was the looting system. My monkey brain loved the feeling of scavenging that a game gives you by letting you find loot on the ground and in trash cans. Well done, SFB Games. Well fucking done. Crow Country seems to have gone somewhat viral in the last few months to a year. A bunch of people are talking about it, and I even saw a bunch of theories on the internet about the story. It's great, and I'm actually happy to see the internet favor small games and small teams finally. So by all means, I am glad that people are talking about it. Keep talking about it. Actually, talk more about it. This game is also priced at around $20 on Steam. And just like with any other game, yes, you can get it on sale. So should you get it at all? If you like puzzles, a spooky atmosphere, and have a controller, fuck yeah, get it. Try it out. It's a good game. But let's say you only got $20 in total. You can either get Ebola Free or Crow Country. Which one is better? Which one should you get and why? Honestly, I played both and I like them for different reasons, which means depending on what you prefer, both can be hit or miss. With Ebola, you get an action-rich, visually realistic game, but have to be wary of bugs and glitches. And also, the game is big. It's like 20-something gigabytes. With Crow Country, you get a story-rich, stylized game that can be finished in around 5 to 6 hours. So, if you don't like puzzles, don't get it. This game is a big-ass fucking puzzle. Both games are good in their own ways. You just have to understand and be aware of what you like. And if you like action, you get Ebola. If you like to read a bunch and solve puzzles, you get Crow Country. So, which one do you wanna get? If scary games aren't your cup of tea, I have other reviews you might enjoy. So, click somewhere around the screen for that. Also, let me know what other games I should talk about, and stay tuned for the next video. Ember out.